Inquiry-based learning versus direct instruction teaching methods. The debate between inquiry-based learning and direct instruction have constituted to the premise of which type is more effective for student understanding of content material. Through integrating both types of lessons in a chemistry unit, I hope to identify whether each is correlated to the overall comprehension of students in content. Subgroups of student populations had an underlying difference based on ethnicities as well as gender. Students were allocated the opportunity to voice their perspectives of teaching method through surveys, and such views were used to create possible relationships to exam results. Lessons were delivered with clear distinction between inquiry-based and direct instruction. Although both teaching methods were utilized, data was unable to validify the correlation with teaching method and student performance on assessments. So why do a study on direct instruction versus inquiry-based lesson planning and lesson delivering? For inquiry-based learning, it is the hope of educators to motivate and help students build their 21st century skills. Teachers who utilized inquiry-based learning had results which revealed that many students had an increase in motivation and self-efficacy because of the authentic problems which were part of the curriculum. Studies done have shown that graduates today are not competent with 21st century skills because of the refusal to reform curricula in the classroom. It has become imperative that educators in science self-reflect on the curriculum they are teaching in order to maximize their students' potential, as well as make learning intrinsic and not just rote memory. In studies done, it was shown that direct instruction had a positive effect for students who were low or at risk of academic failure. Curricular responsibilities in trying to help students not only learn, but correlate concepts with real-world issues. Therefore, my research question states, in what ways can student comprehension increase with respect to direct instruction versus inquiry-based? Keep in mind that we are solely focusing on the increase of student comprehension and not other multiple factors that come with both types of teaching methods. Research variables. The independent variable consisted of direct instruction and inquiry-based lesson plans. The dependent variable was the student comprehension in terms of both summative and formative assessments. So what is inquiry-based learning all about? It's collaborative, introducing and integrates problem solving. The teacher works as a facilitator, and there's an emphasis on technology use, problem solving, and whatnot. On the other hand, direct instruction, it's more focused on the content. It's guided practices, modeling, and lecturing, and in some ways can incorporate less critical thinking. So the types of data I collected from my action research included teacher observations, exit tickets, which were used as mini quizzes, surveys, and also test scores. So types of data on focus groups. Because of the high diversity of my classroom, I wanted to focus in on multiple groups. One was ethnicities. So how did different ethnicities score on both types of lesson planning and on their assessments? And then also gender. My findings. So for quizzes, quiz 1 was directly given after direct instruction lessons. The average of all my classes was a 69.76%, which wasn't too bad. On the other hand, quiz 2 was given after inquiry-based lessons and had an average of a 66.94%. Not much difference, 3% give or take. On my unit tests, you can see that my average test scores was about a 65%, similar to my quizzes. In total, I had 62 students, but pay close attention to the ones that I highlighted, the ones that talked about gender, the males and females. As you can see, there's 11% difference in average test scores. And then if you also look at my Hispanics and African Americans, they were a little bit lower, and then my Asian and white populations were a little bit higher. Now, my findings on student feedback was a little interesting. Most students preferred direct instruction lessons. On the other hand, a lot of them, about half my class, did not have a liking to inquiry-based lessons, where I was less guiding. I was more facilitating for the class. Conclusions based on my data. Well, determining between how inquiry-based learning and direct instruction affected student comprehension was inconclusive because there was no real correlation with quiz score, likability, and test score. The test score and quiz scores were roughly the same. Both types of learning methods have their flaws and benefits, according to students and according to observations. Most students, though, from their survey preferred direct instruction. And then there was also a very large difference in ethnical groups. So possible extended research? I think it'd be very beneficial for us to look at the different groups and try to identify where students struggled. And last but not least, a certain focus on gender interests because of the discrepancy between males and females in the interests of science. By doing this simple action research, I was able to see that maybe we do need to reform science to create more equitable learning opportunities and interests for different genders. Thank you.